Hello, it's Holly with Ivy Cool Creations, and today I'm bringing you a layout that I created using the Craft IQ challenge. And the challenge was to use one pattern paper with two sides that you liked and cut it into 4 triangles so that you can use it on a layout and then have it on coordinating cardstock and place it enough so that you can see the cardstock as well. And then for the final part was to put your photos on a giant tag. So I had a kit that I had already put together eons ago from the Simply Stories I Am collection, and I already had these papers cut into triangles, like 12-inch triangles. And so I decided to just cut them in half and use them that way. They were already coordinating and I'm busting my stash. So that was my thought process on that. And then I didn't have to cut triangles. So I was very happy about it. I ended up using the pattern paper on the navy cardstock and then placing it on this pink cardstock because I thought the navy really pulled out the darker tones in those florals, and I really love it. If I had another piece of navy, I would have used it to put on as the outside layer. Now, I had this piece of, it's supposed to be wood grain or wrinkled paper or whatever it is, and it was a scrap, so it was big enough to turn into a tag, and my photos fit perfectly on it. So I used these 3 photos of my kids with golf balls in their mouths. So their thought was that if we put these in our mouths, we can shoot them across the room and see which one goes farther. So that is what they did. And that is where my title came from. It's indoor golf. And yeah. Don't ask. They're 6. I have no idea where they come up with these things. I had this piece. I wanted to play off the navy and pull more navy. So what I did was I had this 6x6 piece of paper and I pulled it to back the tag, and of course it didn't fit. So I had to paper piece it together. And if I was thinking about this right, I would have cut it into strips instead of using a big chunk and just laid it behind, but I wasn't thinking about that. So I was also on a Zoom with a bunch of other crafty ladies, and so I was not really paying 100% attention to what I was doing. That's why you end up with what you end up with. So I like the way that this turned out. I love the navy behind the photos. It really pulls the blue from within the photos, and it makes the paper look less distracting, I think. And so I needed to create my title, and I didn't have any thickers that were big enough. So I went through and found my alpha dies, and then I double-sided taped both sides of this piece of foam and put a pattern paper on top to create my own thickers. Now, Janet Fritz from Galaxy Girl Creations does this all the time, and I love it. It's a fabulous idea. So I do it often as well, especially because I can't find things that are in the color that I want or the size that I want. And I find finding big thickers, like big alpha thickers, is rather difficult. I just used some little things for my clusters. I didn't want to make it too busy because the florals were already so much. I added a journaling spot and some enamel dots, and I love the way that this turned out. Please check out the description box below for all the information for Jacqie and the group on Facebook, and join us for April. That would be amazing.